They told you to be realistic, to be humble, to lower your voice, keep your head down, follow the map someone else drew for a life they never lived. But deep inside, you've always felt it. A burning, a pulse that beats louder than logic. A vision no one else sees. Yet, this isn't just ambition. This is calling. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need another person who conforms. It needs one who transforms, who bends the iron bars of circumstance and forges wealth not just of the pocket, but of the soul. A millionaire mindset isn't about greed. It's about growth. It's not about chasing dollars. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts them like gravity bends light. You don't think rich to have more. You think rich to become more. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But the world misquotes him. They forget that belief isn't a wish. It's war. Every morning, you must fight against the virus of mediocrity, the poison of doubt. And when the voices rise in your head, telling you you're not ready, not smart enough, not born into the right family, you don't negotiate with them. You dominate them, because this is the same mind that drove Henry Ford to redefine the future of industry. He didn't inherit a kingdom. He built one. With a wrench in one hand and a vision in the other, he saw what others laughed at. He said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That's not a quote. That's a commandment. The millionaire mindset begins before the money. It starts in silence, in solitude, in those 4 a.m. mornings when no one's watching and your excuses have no witnesses. It's in the discipline to sit at the table of your dreams and feast alone while others starve for approval. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire through flash or flare. He became one through focus, unshakable, obsessive, brutal focus. While others chased shiny things, he chased value. While others followed the crowd, he studied patterns, built frameworks, and waited for his moment. And when it came, he moved without hesitation. That is wealth built not by chance, but by conviction, not because to think rich is to believe when no one else does. To walk through failure like it's fog, thick, heavy, disorienting, but never permanent. You see, the poor mindset crumbles at the first sign of difficulty. The rich mindset, it rises. It learns, it adapts. It uses pain as currency, not as a cage. Rockefeller didn't grow up with wealth. He grew up with resolve. And with every brick he laid, every drop of oil he refined, he wasn't just building a business. He was building an empire of mindset. One thought at a time. One decision at a time. And behind every decision was a belief. I will not be average. Want to master the millionaire mindset? Then understand this. Money is not the goal. It is the reflection. A mirror of your consistency, your clarity, your courage. You don't chase it. You become the kind of person it's magnetized to. James Allen wrote, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not so he becomes, but so he is." You already are what you repeatedly think. If your thoughts are fractured, weak, filled with fear, your life will reflect it. But if your thoughts are disciplined, bold, rooted in purpose, then every action, every step, every setback becomes fuel. Your life becomes a statement, not a question. You want wealth? Then get clear, crystal clear, because clarity is power. When Florence Scovel Shinn wrote about the laws of the invisible, about how spoken words shape visible realities, she was teaching the lost art of mental precision. She wasn't whispering affirmations. She was issuing spiritual commands. And the universe? It doesn't respond to the lukewarm. It bows to the unyielding. You think the millionaires of the world got there by being passive? By sitting on the sidelines of their own potential? No. They got there because they understood the difference between a wish and a decision. And decision True decision is violent. It kills off all other options. It carves a path forward, even when the ground beneath you shakes. There will be days when your bank account is empty, when your friends stop believing, when your confidence cracks. But the millionaire mindset doesn't flinch, because it doesn't rely on the external. It's forged in the internal. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times. 5. And every time, he came back stronger. Why? Because the factory could fail, but the mindset never did. You have to think like that. Move like that. Decide like that. Not tomorrow. Now. Because wealth isn't waiting. It's watching. Watching how you talk to yourself. Watching how you spend your mornings. Watching what you prioritize when no one's looking. It sees your excuses. It sees your habits. And it will only reward one of them. The world is not short on talent. It's not short on potential. It's drowning in it. But what it is starved for, what separates the builders from the beggars, the creators from the consumers, is belief backed by relentless action. Action is the great divider. It's the forge that turns thought into gold. And not random, frantic motion, but strategic, intentional, disciplined action, day after day after day, even when the fire dims and the applause fades. You want to become rich? You must build momentum that no failure can freeze. You must act like a man possessed, like Florence Scovel Shinn said, armed with the sword of the Spirit, cutting through fear, scarcity, delay. The universe doesn't move for hesitation. It moved for certainty. Look at Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie didn't wait for permission. He didn't sit in a room hoping someone would notice his potential. He declared it. He stepped out and claimed a future that didn't yet exist. And then he backed it with action so bold, so strategic, that an entire generation of industry bowed in recognition. He had a plan. He had mentors. And above all, he had discipline. Discipline is not a punishment. It is freedom. It's the daily sharpening of the inner sword. It's the habit of choosing the vision over the urge. Because let's be honest, most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they refuse to do it long enough. The road to mastery isn't lined with shortcuts. It's paved with repetition, deliberate, focused, unapologetic. Millionaire mindset is built in the trenches of consistency. You get up when you don't feel like it. You study when the world tells you to scroll. You build when others binge. You invest when others consume, because you understand this one sacred law of the rich. Compound effort is more powerful than any overnight miracle. Warren Buffett didn't just wake up with billions. He became a student of time, a master of the long game. He knew that small, smart decisions, compounded daily, become mountains over decades. He didn't sprint. He stacked. While others were chasing dopamine, Buffett was reading 500 pages a day. While others were speculating, Buffett was calculating. He didn't let the noise steal his focus. He made focus his fortress. And that is what wealth responds to. Focus isn't a productivity hack. It's a spiritual discipline. You can't think like the masses and expect to live like the rare few. You can't speak poverty and live prosperity. You can't act like a spectator and expect to be crowned a king. You must lead your mind, your habits, your time. You must become the CEO of your own life, or someone else will gladly take the role. And leadership starts with purpose, not vague dreams, not surface-level goals, but deep-rooted purpose. Why do you rise in the morning? Why do you suffer, sacrifice, grind? Because without a why that sets your soul on fire, your wealth will rot before it ever takes root. Rockefeller didn't build Standard Oil just for profit. He saw a world that ran on chaos and gave it structure. He built an empire not on greed, but on order, on systems, on vision. And that's your call. To see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and then build the bridge between the two. Wake up and declare, I will be the one who ends the cycle. I will be the one who rewrites the legacy. I will be the one who lives rich in mind, in mission, in money. Because being rich isn't about cars and clothes. It's about control. It's about buying back your time, owning your choices, designing your days. It's about freedom, not just physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual. And if that doesn't stir something inside you, then you don't want wealth. You want comfort. And comfort never made kings. You must get uncomfortable. You must enter the unknown. You must look fear in the face and say, you do not run this show. I do. Because the man who walks into fear without flinching is the man who walks out untouchable. Resilience is not born in peace. It's born in fire. Every setback, every rejection, every moment of doubt, these are not signs to stop. They are the training ground for greatness. James Allen knew this. He wrote of the soul as a garden and thoughts as seeds. He knew that pain was part of the pruning. You don't grow strong by avoiding storms. You grow strong by learning how to stand in the rain and build anyway. This is your storm. This is your test. Will you fold or will you forge? The millionaire mindset isn't an inheritance. It's a choice. Every single day, to think rich, to act rich, to become rich not just in wealth, but in character, in courage, in conviction. You must make that choice again and again until your life becomes a reflection of everything you once imagined, not because it was handed to you, but because you became the one who could hold it. You want to live like few can? Then you must think like few do, because every empire ever built began not with gold, but with vision, a vision so clear, so undeniable, it bent reality around it. You must become the architect of your future, not the tenant of your past, the man who built the steel rails across continents, the woman who shattered the limits of her generation, the thinker who turned ideas into industries. They all started with a vision. And that vision wasn't born in convenience. It was born in crisis, in rejection, in nights when everything inside them screamed, quit, but something louder answered, keep building. If your vision doesn't scare you, stretch you, or demand the death of your old self, it's not big enough. The world will try to shrink your vision to fit its fears. But the millionaire mindset demands the opposite. You expand your belief until your life has no choice but to rise to it. That's what Florence Scovel Shinn meant when she said, your word is your wand, not a metaphor, a tool of creation. What you speak, you summon. What you declare with belief becomes law in the invisible. You want to be rich? Then watch your words like a surgeon handles a blade. No more, I hope. No more, I'll try. No more, one day. You say, it is done. And then you act as if it already is, because this mindset doesn't tolerate contradiction. You can't think abundance and walk in fear. You can't say, I'm building wealth, and keep sabotaging yourself with every unaligned habit. The truth? You don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. And most people tolerate mediocrity. They tolerate laziness. They tolerate environments that drain them, relationships that limit them, habits that betray them. And then they wonder why they can't break through. Your breakthrough will not come until you raise your standard. Not your goals, your minimums. The millionaire mindset is not about peak moments. It's about raising the floor. You stop allowing yourself to skip the gym. You stop letting your mornings slip into chaos. You stop saying yes when your soul screams no, because every compromise is a crack in the foundation. And no empire stands long on cracks. Rockefeller knew this. He lived with meticulous intention. He knew where every dollar went. Every deal was aligned. Every step forward calculated. He wasn't lucky, he was laser focused, because purpose without structure is just noise. The wealthy don't stumble into power. They build routines that reinforce it. They live by ritual, by rhythm, by relentless execution. You want to be rich? Then turn your discipline into a religion. Wake up before the sun. Protect your time like it's gold, because it is. Feed your mind with books that stretch you. Cut conversations that shrink you. Move with precision. Think with clarity. And act with urgency. Because every day you delay, you trade your potential for comfort. And comfort is the slowest poison. Ask yourself, what are you building today that your future self will thank you for? What pain are you willing to endure to become the kind of person who can hold wealth, not just earn it? Because wealth without wisdom destroys. That's why so many who win the lottery end up broke. They gained the riches, but not the identity. Must become worthy of the reward before the reward arrives. And worthiness isn't gifted. It's earned in silence, in sacrifice, in the daily choice to do the uncommon thing. You want to be a millionaire? Then outlast the weak, outwork the average, outbelieve the doubters. The world will call you obsessed. Good, be obsessed. Be fixated, be possessed with purpose. Because obsession is what focus feels like when you truly commit. When Dale Carnegie taught how to win people, he wasn't just teaching charisma, he was teaching value creation. He knew that relationships were the true capital of empires. That every handshake, every word, every conversation was either a deposit or a withdrawal in the bank of trust. And if you want wealth that lasts, you must build it on value, not scams, not shortcuts. Service. What do you bring to the table that solves real problems? What pain can you remove? What need can you meet? The money you earn is in direct proportion to the problems you solve and the value you deliver consistently, excellently, and at scale. That's what Ford understood. He didn't just make cars, he made freedom. He made time. He made opportunity for millions of people to move physically, financially, emotionally. And he did it with one innovation: the assembly line, a system, a structure, a repeatable machine of wealth. You must think the same way. Your mindset is the engine. Your habits are the gears. Your discipline is the oil. And your vision? That's the fuel. The average person wants better results. The millionaire builds better systems. Because he knows, if I build the machine right, the result takes care of itself. And once the machine is built, once the gears turn with precision and the vision drives every bolt, every breath, every decision, you don't stop. You scale. You optimize. You innovate. You expand like fire catching wind, because the millionaire mindset doesn't stop at personal success. It moves from self-mastery to market mastery. It shifts from building wealth for one to building wealth ecosystems, empires, legacies, movements that outlive the man. This is where most break. They reach a milestone and settle. But settling is the enemy of greatness. You weren't born for a taste. You were born to feast. Not to touch the peak once and retreat, but to build a castle on top of it. That's the level of thinking required to truly own the title. Builder of wealth, not a collector of cash, not a hustler for likes, but a strategist, an architect, a visionary, who engineers generational momentum. You want legacy money? You need legacy thinking. Warren Buffett doesn't invest for quarterly gains. He invests for dynasties. He looks at businesses like ecosystems resilient, redundant, sustainable. He doesn't ask, what's hot now? He asks, what will still be essential when the noise fades? That's the question the millionaire mind must master. What am I building that outlives the trends? Because when the crowd chases waves, the wealthy build ships. Ships that carry value across generations. Ships that survive recessions. Ships that own the ocean, not just one wave. This is where investment comes in. Not just of money, but of attention, energy, and relationships. You must learn the laws of leverage. How to multiply your impact through people, capital, systems, media. Rockefeller didn't drill every well himself. He built the infrastructure. He owned the refineries, the railroads, the distribution. He didn't sell oil, he controlled it. The millionaire mind doesn't think in terms of jobs. It thinks in terms of ownership. Do you own your income? Do you own your brand? Do you own the equity you're sweating for? If not, you're a tenant in your own life, and that must end. Ownership is the foundation of freedom. You must move from labor to leverage, from being the machine to owning the machine. That's where the exponential lives. That's how wealth scales without killing the creator. Most people burn out because they never transition. They grind, they hustle, they sacrifice, but they never build the systems that allow their wealth to breathe without their sweat. And what's the point of riches if you've got no time to live them? The ultimate flex isn't a Lamborghini. It's leisure on your terms. It's knowing that your systems earn while you sleep, grow while you rest, expand while you live. That's true wealth. But to get there, you must kill the need to control every piece. You must trust your vision enough to delegate, to automate, to step back and scale up. That's the power of a millionaire mind. It doesn't just hustle, it engineers. It doesn't just build, it multiplies. And that multiplication is fueled by one core power: adaptability. Because no empire survives the future by clinging to the past. Markets change. Models evolve. Technology disrupts. And if you're rigid, you will shatter. The wealthy don't resist change, they ride it. They study it. They anticipate it. They profit from it. Henry Ford didn't build cars because horses were broken. He built cars because he saw where the world was going. Buffett didn't invest in Coca-Cola because of sugar. He invested because of distribution, branding, global consistency. They saw what others didn't. And more importantly, they acted when others hesitated. The millionaire mind sees winter coming and starts buying seeds. While others panic, it plants. While others retreat, it retools. Because adaptability isn't weakness, it's intelligence. It's survival. It's the secret weapon of every dynasty. You don't survive by being the strongest. You survive by being the most responsive, the most aligned with what's next, the most able to shift without losing the mission. That's why your identity can't be tied to one method, one industry, one path. It must be tied to your vision, your principles, your why. The vehicle may change, the terrain may shift, but the destination remains unchanged. And that's the ultimate power of the millionaire mindset. It's not fragile. It's not addicted to conditions. It doesn't break when things get hard. It adapts. It adjusts. It evolves. And most importantly, it endures. Endurance is not just survival. Endurance is domination over time. It's what separates the fleeting from the timeless, the hustlers from the legends. Because anybody can rise when the winds are fair. But the millionaire mindset is forged in storms. It is built in the unseen hours, in the silence between breakthroughs, in the grind after the applause dies and no one's watching but your future self asking, did you earn this day? That's the weight. That's the burden of those destined for greatness. And that is why so few rise. Not because they lack the tools, but because they lack the fortitude to keep swinging when the dream looks impossible. Listen to me, there will be days when the goal feels 1,000 lifetimes away, when doubt whispers like a snake in your ear. You're wasting your time. There's an easier way. Maybe you're not cut out for this. And in those moments, you don't need more motivation. You need resolve. You need the kind of unbreakable commitment that says, I will not betray my destiny for temporary comfort. You need to look at your fear and say, "You do not own me." You need to stand in front of the mirror and see not what you are, but what you're becoming: a creator, a commander of wealth, a master of fate. Because this journey is not about dollars. It's not about status. It's about power. Not power over others, but power over your own limitations. Over your mind, your habits, your patterns, your demons. James Allen said, "You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you." So where are you taking yourself? Are you feeding your mind with clarity or clutter? Are you building habits of excellence or cycles of escape? Are you aligning your daily actions with the empire you dream about, or just pretending? There's no such thing as kind of committed. You're either in or in the way. The millionaire mindset demands full surrender to discipline, to focus, to a purpose larger than your ego. It demands you rise before comfort, speak before doubt, act before certainty, because clarity doesn't precede action, it follows it. And if you're waiting for perfect conditions to begin, you've already lost. The greats didn't start because they were ready. They started because they were called. And that calling didn't sound like thunder. It whispered. In moments of stillness, in nights of anxiety, in quiet truths that would not die. And they answered. Now it's your turn. You want to think rich? Then you must strip away every belief that keeps you small. Every inherited thought that says you can't. Every fear dressed as logic. Every excuse polished into reason. You must declare war on mediocrity, on hesitation, on procrastination masquerading as perfectionism. You must move. And when you move with fire. Let your actions be loud. Let your standards be fierce. Let your days become monuments to your future. Because the world does not give wealth, it yields it. To those who refuse to be denied. To those who walk like giants long before the bank account catches up. To those who invest like kings while they still feel like pawns. To those who serve like titans while the world still calls them nobodies. To those who think rich and become rich. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not someday. Now. This is where the old you dies, where the average fades, where the ordinary surrenders, and the extraordinary awakens. So go, build, create, become, master the millionaire mindset. Think rich, become rich, and never look back.